Hi everybody, my name's Rowena and I'm from the 9:45 service, and today I have a question for you. And this is my question. Have you ever read a book, the contents of which live with you and remain with you for a long, long time after you've read it? The heart and soul of the book stay with you and you can't help thinking about it for ages. I read one such book when I was a teenager, so a couple of years ago now, but it still lives with me in some measure. It's about the story of a group of young missionaries. Now, some of the older gen may have read the book. It's called The Shadow of the Almighty. And back in 1956, so it's going back a long time, these young men, in their attempts to go and evangelize a tribe in the Amazon jungle who had never laid eyes on any other person, these young men were murdered. And even decades after their murder, they are legendary and their life story is inspirational. Now, this is not going to be any discussion about whether or not we agree with what they did or whether or not we think there's dependency issues or whatever the story is. But what it is a story of remarkable love, and it is a story, actually, as you look back 50, 60 years ago, it is a story of how God will triumph over evil. Nate Saint was the pilot who was with these young men who were murdered. And after the death of Nate, his family, he had a wife and 3 children, his family moved to Quito, which is in Ecuador, where Steve Saint attended school. Now, this is going to be now centered around Steve Saint, the son of the pilot called the Jungle Pilot from that time. It was during this time, when he was a little boy still, that his aunt, Rachel Saint, who was a translator, and Elizabeth Elliot, who was Jim Elliot's wife, they successfully made peaceful contact with the particular tribe and were living with them in the jungle. At the age of 10 years old, Steve Saint went to live with the tribe as well, and he would stay with them during the summer months. At the age of 10, he learned all sorts of different things about living in the jungle and developed relationships with many members of the tribe. And it was around about this time that this young man, Steve Saint, was actually baptized in the river there where his father was murdered. He was baptized by the very men who murdered his father. Now, if you press fast forward and go right through, you will find that in April of this year, Minkay, this man who baptized Steve Saint, died. And they have the most remarkable story, and I have to say it's really well worth reading the obituary that Steve Saint has written about Minkay, and who was he called him his adopted father. And so if you just Google Steve Saint's obituary of Minkay, it's well worth reading. And it really is a story about what man meant for evil, God meant for good. The forgiveness, the story of love, the relationships. It is incredible, and it is also quite a remarkable lesson for us to be zealous and unwavering in our commitment to tell others about the Lord Jesus. Stay well, everybody, and keep safe. Bye-bye.